What's good, people? Thank you as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. All right, so Amir Khan will take on Terence Crawford for the WBO welterweight title, pound for pounder. Terence Crawford, it will be on pay-per-view in America. There is talk about it being on pay-per-view in the UK as well. Bob Arum left a statement saying that he doesn't have a UK distributor as yet, and they are working on doing it on Sky pay-per-view. So that's what Amir Khan's doing. I was, because of that, very interested in terms of what would Kell Brook do, right? Kell Brook has been wanting this fight for ages. That's been his fight. The way Amir Khan has chased Mayweather and Pacquiao, Kell Brook has chased Amir Khan. So what is he going to do after? Let's not forget, when he was chasing him 2 years ago and Khan fought Canelo, Kell Brook went and fought GGG. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I did say this at the time, that was probably the most stupidest move ever. I remember listening to numerous boxers and they were like all being asked, what do you think? And they were like, what? Remember, that's the time that he was the boogeyman and Kell Brook was the unbeaten IBF welterweight champion. And the only fight Eddie Hearn could get him at the time to almost counter what Amir Khan done was to fight GGG. And the funny thing is, for a couple of rounds, he was actually quite competitive, right? I think everyone remembers it was quite competitive. And I think that led to other people then calling out GGG, thinking, wait a minute, we can actually do something here. But then obviously his orbital bone got broke. And I think it's just been a cascade of problems since then. And then the other orbital bone got broke against Errol Spence. And it's like, what's going on with Kell Brook? And I do feel like his career as a top fighter is hanging by a fucking thread. Like literally, have I got any pieces of thread? I don't have any pieces of thread, but you know what I mean? Like literally it's hanging, like hanging to the point where I think it could rip any second. And that's difficult for me because I'm a big Kell Brook fan. I've done a few videos ridiculing him just because that's what I do on this channel. But I've also been upset with his career path because I think he could have been that good. I do think he could have been. I don't think he will be again. I think that's done. I do think the boxing window is a very short one. I think he had his window. So now he's got to make a right move. The next move, like honestly, in terms of all the boxers I'm interested in terms of what they do next, aside from the Joshua scenario with Wilder and Fury, I'm really interested in what Kell Brook does next. I hope he doesn't have a knee-jerk reaction because of Amir Khan versus Crawford and then tries to call out someone stupid. It's got to be very, very smart. The name that he's been linked to today, and we haven't heard anything from obviously Eddie Hearn or Kell Brook, but we've heard something from Jeff Horn's people saying that they've made an offer to fight Kell Brook. I don't know if the fight will be at 147 or 154. Jeff Horn has fought at 154 before, so it's more likely that it is a catchweight or at 154. How do I feel about this? It's not great. It's not super bad either. I think you look at Jeff Horn and you do think not a big enough name for Kell Brook, but the fact is Jeff Horn in 2 of his last 3 fights has fought Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford, and he beat Pacquiao. So he might look at his own resume and think, well, I've fought bigger names than Kell Brook has. You could argue that Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford are bigger than Sean Porter, Errol Spence, who wasn't a world champion, relatively fresh on the scene, but known, and GGG. You can make an argument that Pacquiao and Crawford is bigger than those 3. So although we might look at Jeff Horn and think he's not a big enough name for Kell Brook, Jeff Horn probably looks at Kell Brook and thinks that we're probably even. We're probably even in terms of resume, which is unbelievable, which is unfucking believable. Personally, I don't want to see him fight Jeff Horn, but there is a part of me, I have to be honest with you, that is very, very scared about him fighting the top guys at 154 pounds. I don't think he can make 147 anymore, so we are really talking about the top guys at 154. They scare me, if I'm honest with you. Tony Harrison scares me. Hurd scares me. Charlo scares me. Even Lara. I know it's coming to the end of Lara now, but Lara scares me. The other ones, Lubin scares me. Trout scares me. I think they all beat Kell Brook. And I don't know if Kell Brook can recover from another loss. It's weird that because those are top guys that I've just mentioned. Those are all top guys. Lubin kind of fresh on the scene, but nonetheless, they're all former world champions apart from Lubin. And Amir Khan will fight Crawford, who's a pound for pounder and world champion. And Amir Khan will probably lose, right? That's not being or trying to bash Amir Khan. I think that's just facts. Amir Khan will survive that loss. I don't think Kell Brook survives a loss against those guys. And I don't know if that's down to Amir Khan having a bigger fan base. I don't know what that is, but I think if Kell Brook loses to those guys, I think 90% of people will probably say Kell Brook should pack it in. If Amir Khan loses to Crawford, I think people will say it's okay, it's Crawford. But those guys are legit as well. So it's strange. So for Brook, again, it's a difficult situation. It really is a difficult situation. You fight a top guy, you lose, because I don't think Brook is Brook anymore. It could be done. You fight a guy like Jeff Horn, people are not going to be happy because it's not a legit name. He might just have to roll the dice against one of the top guys. He might just have to. I mean, Hurd and Harrison have said they will come over. I don't want to see Hurd. Absolutely fucking not. I'd rather see Harrison, who's a bit more of a mover. Hurd would just be frightening. A Brook at his best, like at his absolute best, could cause Harrison problems. I'm not saying he could beat him, but could cause problems. Harrison isn't unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination. So that's the fight I would love to see, Kell Brook versus Harrison, because I think Kell Brook does need a big name. And although Jeff Horn, in terms of resume, probably has a better resume than Brook, he's just not a big enough name. Kell Brook needs to be in there with the top guys now. You're coming to the end of the career. I think it's time to roll that fucking dice. Whatever happens, happens. You win, you go on to bigger things. You lose, Eddie Hearn has to rebuild you, or you call it quits. It's that simple, right? What do you guys think? Let me know. Peace.